Okay, so yesterday I got a copyright strike again. That one video that I showed, he was playing Adele in the background. I was like, how are these other people getting away with playing this music? How am I getting copyright strike? So, anyways, and I spent hours trying to take that section out. And then finally I told YouTube, now I know, we can tell YouTube, remove that section. But I don't know if they really removed it. And I still have a copyright strike, so I don't know. I don't know. But I am going to share a video today because it is, I was listening and it doesn't have any music, but it goes with, so you can hear the storm outside. I couldn't sleep. I've been up almost all night because the storm is so brutal outside and it's so freaking noisy. So, and then this morning when I let the dog, because I was laying there and I kept dozing off and having these weird dreams. It wasn't like I was going deep. I was really like thinking and aware, but also in some kind of weird fantasy world, and just meeting up with people who I hadn't seen. Like, it was crazy. But and I was thinking, oh, all my stuff is blown away. Everything's blown away. When I opened the door this morning, there's not gonna be anything out there. So when I open the door, I look out to see if anything's out there, and the swing base is blown. It's gone. And so I'm like, oh shit, man, that swing will be worthless without the base to hold it. And so I'm like, shit, surely it's got to be around here somewhere. So I have my flashlight and I'm trying to see if I can see it. I'm looking over here because the gate had blown open. And so I find it at the other side of the yard, and it is blown, but it got hung up on the fence and it didn't tear. I was like, oh my God, miracle. So anyways, I got it and I got it back and I tipped it over so it's down, the awning thing is on the ground. So hopefully it'll stay put because the wind's supposed to be picking up. We're supposed to get even worse wind. Oh, I forgot to tell what it was. 707. 77% at 707. What? Oh, that's wild. So 707, 77% on the 2nd. Thursday. What is Thursday? Seems like Thursday's a day to reckon with, but I don't remember why. Wednesday's trash day. I don't friggin' know why. But that's trippy, 707 and 77%. Thursday the 2nd. So, anyways, been having this shit storm all friggin' night. The wind here is insane. And it can say no wind, and then all of a sudden it just is going. It was like, sound like it was going to blow the building away. The dogs were jumping up, and it was loud. So I was just like, man, there's no way I can sleep through this. Rain is pounding on the windows. The wind sounds like it's going to blow. The door blew open again, and it was really creepy too, because it was all, this is when Stella jumped up too. There was all this right outside of the door is all these rocks, and when somebody is walking on the rocks, my nose is so raw. When somebody is walking on the rocks, it is you can hear it. So it sounded like somebody was walking on the rocks. Then I started even getting in my head like, oh shit, there's somebody out there. And then they like pushed the door. It was the wind pushing it, and it was I guess rain and stuff hitting into the rocks, sounding like someone's walking around. So it was really creepy. And Stella jumps up and she starts barking. And I shut the door, and I couldn't go back to sleep. I was like, oh my God. I was thinking, man, if somebody was coming to break in, maybe I should lock the doors. I don't know. I always think like, oh, who's going to come out here? So, confirmation. So I'm sure it is just like, they've got, sleepers have a lot to do in the cities. Where they're going to go out in the middle of nowhere. So my eye is super itchy, and I'm doing all sorts of stuff, and it's looking way better. I don't know if my tooth is looking any better, but I wanted to address that too, because somebody had brought up about the mold. So that I want to talk about. The weather thing I want to talk about, and that's the video I'm going to show about. But in the thing, it doesn't say that there's any wind. It says there's going to be wind here in a little while. I don't remember what time. I think at 11 o'clock. Then we're going to have a windstorm of some sort. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then again at 5 p.m. So it won't stop. It'll keep going the whole time. It'll probably start sooner too. It's been going all fucking night. So, which just reminded me too of the most hilarious video I saw yesterday. The guy cusses so much though. And I'm sure it would offend some people because he cusses so much. But it is hilarious. Oh my God. I'll tell you about that too. And so anyways, the wind's going to be picking up. It's 37. Feels like 28. It's wet, rainy. It's just crappy out. And then tomorrow it's supposed to be sunny. 57. And then 65, then 71. Oh, because now we have sun for 3 days. Before it kept switching. So now we'll see. And then it's supposed to be 71, 73, 75, but it's going to go cloudy again. So I don't know. This weather's whacked. But again, I'm going to show that video of it talking about it. And so crazy ass dreams. And I found my thing. And the weather's not stopping. Super intense. Okay, so one of the things is these things all are like, I don't see how they all go together, but I'm gonna still talk about them. And so one of them was, so yesterday I was watching this old movie. It was called, I'll just look it up. So it was on YouTube. I can look at my history. My mom listens to this preacher guy all night while she's sleeping. So when I get up in the history in the morning, it's like a zillion of those videos. Because she's somehow, when I was there, her login went onto my YouTube. And I pay for no commercials, so then I don't want to screw her over and take her out of it. Fame is the name of the game. That's what it was called. 1966. And it was a mystery. Only, it was kind of like Kolchak. Only it wasn't supernatural, which I love Kolchak. I've been watching so much of him. I love Kolchak. Which he's a reporter, investigator, but the stuff he's always looking into is supernatural stuff. This one was like a crime, just a crime. It was good. It was a good mystery. And but anyway, so it had this lady in it, and I recognized her. I was like, man, she is so pretty. And so I decided to look her up and see, who is this? I can't remember what her name is, but I recognize her. And it was Jill St. John. So then I sent the movie to my mom, because oftentimes we do that when we see something that's a cute movie. So I sent her that movie and said, this movie's cute. And so then I sent a message. I said, man, Jill St. John is so pretty. And then she said something. And so then, I don't know what it was, but I was looking up more stuff about Jill St. John. And I don't remember why, what it was that I was looking to see. I think when I first looked her up, I saw a picture of her with Robert Wagner, which I was like, oh, huh. And so then I saw that she's been married to Robert Wagner. I think this is why I started looking stuff up. So she had been married to Robert Wagner for 35 years in 2025. So they've been married for 35 years. And so I'm messaging with my mom at this point about this. I'm like, this is weird. And so she's looking up stuff. And cause she hates Robert Wagner over the Natalie Wood thing. She cannot stand him. She's sure that he killed her. And which I think, lots of us think so. So then I saw that Jill St. John, she's also comes from a Russian family. And Natalie Wood comes from a Russian family, which I just thought, well, that's kind of strange, isn't it? And Natalie Wood, her like her sister, Lana, her name was Svetlana. Jill St. John, her name wasn't as Russian, her last name was, but both her parents were Russian. Which I don't know if some of this stuff comes like from the old country or something, because Lana has been in a feud with Jill St. John for a long time, which is something to do with the, initially I guess it started over a James Bond thing, because they were both in a James Bond movie or something. And then when you look at Jill St. John, the list of men that she has been together with or out with, it is extreme. It was like, oh my God, she got around, or she was passed around or something. I don't know what was going on. It was extreme. And it has this huge long list, because if you look on her Wikipedia, and it has all this stuff. And so it talks about the feud with Lana, and then it went further. The feud has gotten worse, and I think over Robert and Natalie and Robert's daughter too. So, but the thing is so they have been married for 35 years, but they got together Valentine's Day. Supposedly, this is when they got together. Valentine's Day of 1982. Natalie Wood died November 29th, 1981. Are you freaking kidding me? And it seems like I remember him getting together with somebody after. And I don't remember when it was. It's like I didn't keep out. Like, I really like Natalie Wood, but I wasn't a big Robert Wagner fan or anything. And so I don't really remember, even though I've seen some old movies where it's like, oh my God, that guy was good looking. Crap, he was so good looking. And, but I think he was kind of a jerk. And so then to see that she died, and within that's like a matter of weeks, and all of a sudden he's together with Jill St. John, it made me think, I wonder if that relationship started before Natalie was dead. I wonder if Robert was just a cheater. I wonder if they cheated back and forth on each other, because sometimes when you're in dysfunctional relationships, people will do that. They'll cheat back and forth on each other. And I don't know. I mean, they obviously had some kind of weird relationship, because Natalie married Robert Wagner like in the 60s, divorced him a couple years later, and then remarried him later in, I think in the 70s. And then she died in 81. And so, and she was married to someone else in between. So I'm sure that they had some kind of toxic energy between them. And lots of people don't know how to handle their pain and suffering and their triggers. They just react. Everybody's reactive in life. And so I was thinking, I wonder if they cheated back and forth. I wonder if she brought Christopher Walken, because Christopher Walken was a real trigger to Robert Wagner, and they were doing the movie Brainstorm together, and they would become close. And there's only speculation. Nobody knows, were they having an affair? Were they not having an affair? Why did she bring him to the boat that night? And so if she didn't bring Christopher Walken to push Robert Wagner's buttons, because he was already seeing Jill St. John, and if they hadn't had arguments or something about this affair, and then if it goes into deeper wounds because there's some kind of connection in their families, this Russian thing or something, I don't know if they were paired against each other in movies. I'm not sure what the deal is, but I was thinking, I wonder if, and it's so weird how Christopher Walken just doesn't ever speak out. Like, there must be some kind of NDA or something. Is that what it's called? NDE or NDA? It's an NDA, right? No, non-disclosure agreement. Yeah. NDE is near-death experience. So NDA is the, so I wonder if he had to sign one that was very, wonder if, I would assume Natalie and Robert had some really toxic energy in their fights. and that they had explosive arguments, and maybe it made Christopher Walken really uncomfortable. Maybe he went down to his room, and then they kept fighting. And then Natalie, she had a histrionic borderline thing. I mean, she'd been in the acting thing since she was really little. No telling what all stuff happened to her. And if she didn't, well, I'm going to take off on this boat, and then she fell in or something, she could have fallen in. He could have pushed her in. And then he just launched the boat and said she went on the boat. We don't know. And if Christopher Walken really wasn't present at the moment of this thing, and so he didn't know really what happened, but it could have been that they were fighting and he could have pushed her, and something about it, she couldn't swim or something, and he didn't get her out, and she drowned, and they made like she went on some little dinghy trying to get away from the boat because she was mad, and then she drowned in the little dinghy thing. It tipped over or something. But, and her sister Lana has written a book, too, about some inconsistencies and stuff in the crime. So, I don't know. But once I saw that yesterday, it was just like it opened up this whole new thing to me again. It was like, oh my God. He got together with her in a serious commitment, because then they got married in 1990. So he was together with her since 1982, which even could have been before that, all the way to present day, and they're still together. I was like, oh my gosh. And secrets would hold you together at some points. So who knows? Who knows what their relationship is or what it was. They've known each other since the 60s because they were in movies and they were both like good looking. And Natalie Wood was so pretty. But I don't know. It's just so weird. And would she know? Did she forgive him? Did he say he accidentally pushed her over and he couldn't get her and she drowned? Did he do it? Because you don't know his intention. So you don't know what was really done out of spite and on purpose. But yeah, she drowned. And then a few months later, he's hooked up with this lady. And then they've been together because that makes it 35, 40 some years that they've been together. So I don't know, but that just totally tripped me out when I had saw that. It was just like, oh my God. And I think, it goes along with everything in this world all coming to the surface, the truth all coming out in things. And like I said, I swear I knew he had gotten together with somebody, and I thought, gosh. But, when you really like some actress and then their person just moves on, then it, it's going to seem like, God, what a jerk. But I don't remember it being so soon. I don't remember that at all. And I don't remember when it was announced that he got together with her or anything. It was such a long time ago. But now to look at those dates and see, and then Christopher just never spoke out, never said anything. Never given us anything, but Lana has, and she has, but she wasn't there. But I don't know. My mom, when we were talking yesterday, she's like, she had the book. She's like, I'm going to read this book again. So she's going to go in and try and see. But yeah, that's weird. So anyways, that whole thing was my yesterday's little looking into things. So or going down rabbit holes or whatever, trying to solve crimes, trying to understand what happened. So, so Donald spoke yesterday, and so I didn't see it. I guess I had too much going on. I'm trying to solve crimes. I'm not sure, but I did see where Australia and the UK had done some kind of thing. But I have said before, there's something with America, UK, and Australia. There's some kind of trifecta. I'm not sure what the deal is, but there's we're like in a thing together, and I don't know if it has to do with the loop of our tax money. I'm not sure. Something under the control. And so the Australian one, the Prime Minister went on and told the people, just cut back. You don't have to just stop doing everything, but just cut back where you can. Don't use so much oil and gas, and, try and ride your bike if you can. Try and walk if you can. You can still go on vacation, but, he was just being very we're going to bring it up. We're going to put it on you. It's all on you now. And then there's some stuff too in the UK with their prime ministers voting and saying, so there's stuff going on. And so then I saw a video of a lady talking about all the stuff that was going on yesterday that was leading up to Donald's speech. And so there was a bunch of stuff. Even the Artemis is taken off, which the moon is in a totally different place. And I'm not the only one who is talking about it. There's a bunch of people talking about the videos. If their moon and their sun is not where it's supposed to be, it's moved. And I've been talking about that too. It's moved. The moon is totally in a different place than it was the other night. Totally across the fucking sky. Which is really strange when they got this rocket ship going towards it. It's like, well, don't you need a readout? Like, how are you getting there? The whole thing's so absurd. And somebody even was showing that the rocket was totally CGI. So, anyways, I don't know. I mean, they just keep us under this illusion of drama and BS all the time. So, and they're losing control. I don't know. They're losing control of the sun and the moon or something. So so this lady was talking about all this stuff going on, and they launched this Artemis and all this drama around that whole thing. And I guess it's supposed to take them 4 days to get to the moon. Bullshit on that. That's bullshit. Which I just saw a guy who was talking about his what is that? His ayahuasca trip. And he said he saw the firmament, and he said it looks like a giant honeycomb. It's a honeycomb kind of thing, and so it's way lower. There's no freaking way, and they cannot go past the firmament. The rocket cannot go past it, and so it's all a bunch of BS. Of course, it's going to be CGI. It's a freaking movie, and so and I had said before that our real world, the real world, so that would be in the micro, the firmament. It looks like a honeycomb, but that would be the micro. But in the macro of the whole existence of the universe, it is like it's like a giant honeycomb. And so, anyways, them sitting there saying that, it's going to take them 4 days to get their BS on that. And besides the fact, I think the firmament is falling on us. It's like it's lowering. Something's going on. And I think that's what's pushing. Because I've talked about this for years now. The sky is pushing out. It is the weirdest thing. And either you can see the illusion or you can't. I don't know. I can't explain it. All I know is when I go outside, I see a fake world. Other people see the world that they understand. I do not. I see we're in a fucking storybook. This is weird as shit looking. And the sky is pushing out. And the sky is coming down. The clouds are tipping. Like, it's all weird. So, I think they could get there in a couple hours. I don't even know. The moon is it's like a decoration. It's like a necklace or something. This whole thing is so absurd. They just twist us around in their freaking absurdity. So I don't know. But anyways, so then Donald comes on, and this is hearsay. I didn't listen. I didn't hear it. This is just what this lady said. And she said that he talked about a few things like he always does. And he only talked for 20 minutes. But what he was mainly saying is that the gas has gone up, but quit whining about it. It's going to go way down. It's going to drop. This is a temporary situation. And we're not going to stop on this this deal with Iran, which Iran was trying to say that they're doing it for someone else. They're sending us messages on Twitter or something saying that they're doing it for the real and we're paying for it so that they can attack them, and we're paying for all this stuff. And then he comes in and he says, no, we're doing this because this has been going on for years and years and years. And it all has to do with this petrol dollar. It all has to do with Central America. And it has to do with the enslavement of mankind. So it's bigger. It's bigger. And it's like you'd have to understand their laundry system to really be able to understand everything that's going on. That's all the wind, man. The wind and the rain. So, so it's a little over our heads, you know. It was like, I know what it has to do with, but I don't know how it all works. I don't know. I know that they had nothing to back the dollar, and so they used oil, and so it was shenanigans that they created together. And Donald has brought up, you know, this is a real bad deal that Barack made, man. So it must have something to do with certain people who made a deal, and it has to do with, and there was stuff about arms and stuff, and you know, not these kind, and the deals made. So there was a lot of corrupt stuff that it has to do with this whole thing, and so getting out from under this petrodollar, which Charlie Ward's doing videos saying, you know, look, we're here, and the lady talks about the med bed. She's like, I'm not talking about it anymore. Leave me alone. Because yesterday or today is supposed to be the day that we get to go in them, but I haven't heard jack shit about it. Donald didn't bring that up, so. That's the thing, is the people who try and say the dates. Like, I saw what happened to Allison Coe when she tried to say the solar flash was going to happen, I think March 2018 or something. Freaking hell, man. It's like people will hunt you down, give them a wrong date. You gotta just don't say anything about dates, man. Because, you know, it's like that thing. We don't know the day or time. We can sit here and talk about all these different people and what they're seeing and what they are thinking and stuff like that. And just, you know, I mean, could be this, could be that, but dates and stuff, we don't know. We don't know when or how things are going to play out. And so, anyways, so, where was I? Okay, so Donald, he came on and he said, you guys stop your whining. This is a temporary situation. It's gone up, but it's going to go way down. You're going to be very happy, but you got to give it a minute. And he said, and we are going to be able to sell. We're going to have our own. So we're not going to be under this control. Which, you know, why couldn't we be using our own this whole time? I used to say that a long time ago, especially when I lived in Texas, and you drive around and there's oil wells everywhere. And it's like, why are we buying it from over there when we have our own? Like, I don't get it. And then there was, I was told, well, because we got to save ours. We got to use theirs and save ours. Like, okay, so we'll get them rich and we just, well, save ours? What are we saving it for? So, anyways, apparently we're going to start using our own and we're going to start selling it to others. So, I don't know. But we have to get out from under this contract, I guess, on this dollar. But so, I will, you know, that would crash it. So, but, you know, there's other things that have happened that seem like, well, that's going to crash it. So, I don't know, you know. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but it all goes together. So, the money thing, which I'm hoping that it still has something to do with this Easter thing and stuff, and that's going to be... There's going to be a big crash that's going to happen because he's pulling out of this deal with them. But he said that we're going to start selling. Then he said to England and to Australia that kind of like, shut up, you little whiny bitches. Like, if you want some, go fight for it yourself, or you can buy it from us. So, and you got to remember, like, he didn't set this speaking engagement up after they spoke. He set it up prior. So this is all a big show. It's a big show. And so, and I know a lot of people get really caught up in all of the drama and stuff, but, you know, that's what they're here to experience. But just keep in perspective. It's a big show. It's all a bunch of BS. But what it's all leading to is the liberation of the human beings and the freedom of mankind. And we have been held under conflict and held under control by this system that is created, this monetary system that they created in regards to all of the complexity to their crime wave, you know. And so, and their retrieval of resources and taking from other places, and the trades that they do and stuff. So anyways, it's all a bunch of corruption. And if you understand it all, great. Start doing videos talking about it so we can all understand, because it's a complex laundry scheme that they have going here. So anyways, and I was glad to see Charlie's thing saying, hey, look. So it makes you feel like, okay, things are rolling right along, right where they're supposed to be going. So we're getting there, just like we just don't understand all of what's got to be taken down. We don't understand everything that's going on. And I saw somebody getting real mad over Candace this morning and what she's got going and what she's saying and speaking against Donald. And I don't know if this is old or whatever, but I just could clearly see is like they have made certain people that were, let's say that they were followed by one group, but then they turned on that group. So then they switched over to the other to pull in all those people onto their side. So they, by appearance, seem to be on their side, but really they're on the side of wake up. They're not on a side, but you have to play sides in order to pull in your team. And so it's to get more attention, because then she can say a lot of stuff because she's got new ears to hear. So all these people who tune in because, oh, she hates Donald, I hate Donald too, let's all listen. So they tune in to see what she's going to say, so then she can say things that helps people to wake up. So it's not like she's trying to be, scheming. It's just that they're trying to create like a broad spectrum of getting people to hear, because people don't listen to people that they don't agree with. They've got biases that hold them back. And so you have to, by appearance, seem to be on their side for them to listen to you. So anyways, that is what I think is going on a lot of it. I think that has something to do with Elon. I think a lot of these people who seem like, man, they're just switching around. They're on this side, then they're on this side. They're going against him. It's like a big old thing. But it draws in certain people, which yesterday, so I shared those videos of that guy talking about how to realign your face structure. And he talks about, like, it's important. And he went to that study, that universal study place or whatever it was. And I've seen a whole bunch more people talking about it. So, which makes sense if there's a whole place that's studying this and more people are going to it. So there's a bunch of people speaking out about this alignment, aligning your jaw, the face symmetry, your posture, all of that stuff. And it isn't just to make you look more beautiful, but it also has to do with your health. But health is beauty. So when you are at your peak of being healthy, then you will look put together. Like, you'll look symmetrical, you'll look balanced, let's say. So anyways, I saw more about that yesterday. I was having all these videos pop up. I saw him pop up some more, saying some more interesting things. I saw another doctor pop up, and he said that wrinkles aren't real. So he said what you got to think about what wrinkles really are is like your muscles are atrophying. So your head is shrinking as you age because your muscles are atrophying, which is just like what I saw on Max, which, man, I'm still tore up, man. It's just so, oh, God. It is hard. I swear to God, it is so much harder than what I thought. I thought I was going to feel like, a relief or something. Oh, my God. Man, I'm tore up. But so your muscles and start atrophying, and so that creates, he was saying, like, think about a ball when it loses air. And so that's why your skin starts becoming loose and hanging, is because your muscles are atrophying. And so that's what these different people are talking about, this muscle building. And there's all of this, which we've been talking about this for a few years, about this lymph drainage and pulling the swelling and the lymph out of your face and stuff, which that helps get rid of gets rid of fluid in your face and stuff, which causes there to be wrinkles and whatnot. But But so building up the muscles, which there's a thing about sleeping with a tooth guard thing in, and it realigns your jaw, it opens up your airway, it stops snoring, it stops teeth grinding, and it realigns your muscles in your face, and it creates more musculature in your face, so it reduces wrinkles. So anyways, all this stuff is important things, and it reverses aging. So the aging happening to your face, you start reversing it, and it has to do with a lot of these like facial exercises too, like these you do this and like 10 times. Then there's this, and then oh man, that was I'm just learning these. So these so just these weird facial exercises, and start building your muscles back up in your face. And then you might want to try this tooth guard. I ordered one. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it and see what happens, because I do have a bad thing of grinding my teeth. I have ever since I was a little kid. And another thing is the posture of your tongue, which they kept talking about, and I was thinking, well, my tongue is always at the roof of my mouth. So your tongue is supposed to be up at the roof of your mouth. It's supposed to be up all the time. And which there's also this thing that some people have, like a real this little connection thing. If it's too tight, you gotta loosen it. So you gotta do these things to loosen it. And then you gotta also do this stuff, or pull on your palate, widen your palate, and that helps your musculature, your skeletal structure of your face and stuff. And the one guy is even talking about, like, this is how we're supposed to look, but the way the world has become lazy and stuff, it's changed our faces, which I had heard that months ago, something about the size of our jaws is becoming smaller, where it should be becoming bigger, but it has something to do with something the way we eat. I don't remember if it's what we eat or something, but yeah, our jaws are getting smaller, and they shouldn't be getting smaller. And so this is building it up more. And that's why he says this is what we're supposed to look like, you know, like these Greek gods or something. So anyways, so there's all these exercises. I'm going to try this tooth guard thing. And then I always do the lymph drainage thing. But what was that? Was something else with, was it the tooth guard thing? And then plus you got to really pay attention to where you put your feet. Like if you need to keep your feet more like this than like this, or if you have them like there's things about that, and your posture and stuff. And then when you start standing and pulling your posture in, and you feel the muscles, that like the calisthenics, then you can feel like, oh man, I do need to work these muscles out. And so do that, you know, get in front of a mirror or something and stand and pull yourself into erection. I've talked about this stuff before, but I'm now seeing all these videos talking about it. But pull yourself in and hold yourself. Start feeling, what does it feel like? What muscles am I using and stuff? And to pull myself and hold myself erect. So that is something. But there was something else that I was going to say about the... so anyways, whatever it is, there's a bunch of stuff about it. And I'm sure you can find more videos talking about it. I could share. I gave the guy's website yesterday, the one, but there's a whole bunch of these people. He's not the only one. And And it's a whole thing. Like, you can join on to these things and learn all these exercises. There's lots of exercises you can do for your face in order to build up your musculature again in your face. And but that's why. And I recently saw somebody talking about when your hair is losing color, it's because you're deficient in copper, like I have been saying for a long time. So all these signs of aging are signs of loss of mineral, not taking care of ourselves. It's all this stuff that I have been saying for a long time. So anyways, but now there's more than just, some kook saying it online. Now there's more people, more studies that are coming out showing, oh, do this, do this, do this. You can reverse your aging. And we're going into a time where we're not going to be dying, because we're going to, I guess, learn how to take care of ourselves in a different way. And they're going to stop poisoning us. That's my guess. So, which I saw a thing yesterday too about blue eyes that I didn't know. Blue eyes are rare. It is, most people in the world have brown eyes, and it's a really small percentage of people have blue eyes. And the reason you have blue eyes is it's a lack of melanin, and there's more to it. But I think there's going to be even more that's going to come out about the same thing, like with the blood types and eye color and stuff like that. You see, I think it's going to be part of our coding, part of like signs of where we're from, signs of other parts of ourselves. So everything in you is representative of the whole. So your whole experience, the whole of who you are, and what you've been through is who you are. Your experiences build up who and what you are. You're not a name. You are an experience. You are a library of experiences. And so you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. But anyways, but we do get names, and our names have a purpose. Our dates that we're born have a reason. And it all has to do with your alignments, your transits, who's going to come in and out of your life. Because I've said before, it's exact. Everything happens purposefully. Everything happens, it's all synchronistic. There's no accidents. Everything and everywhere you are is exactly where you're supposed to be at that exact moment. And you can be transiting with somebody and have no awareness. Like, they could have awareness of you and you not have awareness of them. But it's all very complex kind of situation. And it's trippy how your name has something to do. Like I've said before, my name stands for Warrior of Love, which is trippy because that is what, I try and talk about. And that's this period of time we're going into. We are going into this world of that's built on love and acceptance and peace on earth. And so, which is, it's just trippy. I don't know. It just all goes together. But there's so much more that all goes together, and things are going to keep coming together and coming together. There's so many more things where I see people talking about synchronicities, crazy things happening, and beings being around. And man, Ruthie trips me out because she's always looking at something that's not there. And then sometimes she'll be growling or barking or something, and it's like, well, there's got to be something there. Oh yeah, the guy that was so funny, I wanted to talk about this. It was so freaking funny. You have to hear him, but I'm telling you, he cusses so much, and I think it's funny. I'm not offended by cussing, unless it's like, I don't know, because sometimes it's like rap, but I think it's meant to offend us. Like, there's some stuff Cardi B, like, Jesus Christ, chick, like, god dang, our world has become like a sex show or something. It's really it's kind of repulsive, really. I mean, all these actresses and stuff showing up at all these big events, like they look like they've been dressed at Frederick's Hollywood. That used to be tacky. It used to be people cared about having class. Now it's just like, no, I care more about showing every bit of my body I can. Let's just put a couple straps over the important bits. And, well, I mean, Chappelle Roan, she didn't even wear Chapel Roan, whatever her name is. She didn't even cover her nipples. She just wore nipple covers in her dress. It was like, I mean, she's getting worse and worse and worse. So there's this absurd kind of just tacky world that we are in now. So it's like, it's so much more like these rich, successful women, and they're just desperate to show their body. It's like, that is so weird. It's like, that is kind of what desperate young girls do to try and make it in this world, try and make money or try and find a man or something. But women who are supposed to be like, what? I don't know. Everything is so whacked out and out of balance. But anyways, but this guy, because the rap thing. Okay, so on the rap thing, there is a lot of stuff that I find offensive when I hear some of that stuff. It's vulgar. And, but I saw this video this morning. So the first video I saw was, this family walking through the mall. So it's a mom and a dad and their little girls in between them. And some stranger is coming up the escalator. They're going down the escalator, and he calls this little girl out by name, and then says something to her like, "Hey, Emily, looking good," or something like that. She's like 9 or 10 years old. And the parents are like, "Who's that? You know that person?" And she's like, "No." So then they get up to like the food court. They're walking. Some woman walks by. "Oh, happy birthday, Emily. You look so good. Happy birthday. Have a great day," or something like that. And the parents are like, "Who's that?" And the little girl's like, "I don't know." Then they go up to like the counter. Some man standing there, and he's like, "Oh, so I see you start back on your soccer this weekend. On Friday, you'll be playing again. Well, let's hope your dad could start getting there on time to pick you up." And the parents are like, "What?" And then the premise is, stop posting your stuff online about your kids. You are putting them out there for strangers. And so it was really good. It was impactful. And then right after that, I saw a video of a mom going into the bedroom where her little girls are getting ready. So one of them, gosh, she looks like she's like 10 or 11. I don't know. Maybe her kids are really small. And she's sitting in front of a makeup mirror doing her makeup. The other little girl is standing next to her, and they've got rap blaring, and the one little girl is standing there. This girl can lip sync better than most of the people I see online, grown-ups doing it. This little girl, her voice, her mouth was going perfect with this song, and she had, man, that girl had rhythm, like, oh crap, she had to be like 8 years old or something. And that girl could dance and lip sync, man. So she's standing there going to town on this rap song as her sister sitting there putting on makeup, and her sister just kind of lipping along with it. And the mom's like, "I just went in to check on my daughters, and this is what I found." Which, we've got to stop posting this stuff. Yeah, it's cute, it's interesting, it's like all different things. But it's also the people who find it the most interesting are not people you want snooping around your life. And yeah, your daughter's got freaking rhythm, man. My God, get her in dance class, dude. But also though, I was kind of like, oh, but they're just sitting there going to town, and they're so little to be on rap. But it could have been Kendrick Lamar. And I don't know how vulgar he is. I mean, there's some rap that's vulgar. Like Cardi B, like, oh, come on. Some of these women rappers, it's like, oh my God. What in the, like, God, tune it down a little bit, man. But it's like, they just want it turned up, man. They just want everything to be just, it's like, we don't really need to talk about some of the stuff that you're talking about. And, but anyways, there wasn't a lot of cussing or whatever that was going on in this song at the time when the little girl was lip syncing and stuff, but I don't know the song. Anyways, but I think that people have got to stop sharing every little thing that their kids do that's cute. It's like, you got to just, hold some of it to your heart. Hold some of it to make your own little video memories, show them when they get older. I don't know, but the whole world is full of a bunch of weirdos. And you don't need them snooping in your life, knowing your kids and walking up to them in the malls and stuff. So, anyways, all that. I think that was also, let's listen to this video that I was going to play. So it's what's about to hit the United States has forecasters genuinely alarmed. Which, man, is that what's already hitting here? And this is just part one. So I'll start it back over with me. We're going to pull back.
That sounds small. It isn't. In the language of severe weather forecasting, 15% at extended range typically precedes moderate risk upgrades as the event gets closer. It means the atmosphere is not being subtle. It means the models, which often disagree, which often split into wildly different solutions depending on which one you trust, are actually talking to each other right now. The GFS and the ECMWF, two of the most powerful forecasting systems on the planet, are telling essentially the same story. That alignment alone should raise the hair on your arms, and then you look at the energy numbers. CAPE, convective available potential energy, is the fuel gauge of the atmosphere. It measures how much energy is available to drive a thunderstorm upward. In a typical spring severe weather event, you might see CAPE values in the range of 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. That's enough to produce significant storms. The setup we're tracking right now, 3,000 joules per kilogram. In early April, let that land for a second. We are seeing near peak season instability, the kind of energy usually reserved for late May or June in the southern plains, loading into the atmosphere right now. The calendar says April. The atmosphere did not get the memo. But here's where it gets more specific and more unsettling. When forecasters talk about storm initiation, they usually deal in windows of uncertainty. A 6-hour window, an 8-hour window, maybe a broad afternoon to evening time frame. The storm initiation window for Wednesday evening has been narrowed to 3 hours. 3. Something is terribly wrong. The Storm Prediction Center almost never does this. They just posted a 15% severe probability 4 days in advance, and to put that into perspective, it is the meteorological equivalent of a doctor calling you at midnight. They don't do it unless the test results are genuinely alarming, and right now, the results are alarming. Supercells are loading 3,000 joules of energy over the plains. 8 rivers are flooding simultaneously in New York. Montana is disappearing under a foot of snow. Grasslands in Nebraska are burning. And a solar storm from an X 1.4 flare is quietly hammering Earth's magnetosphere. Oh, and 4 astronauts are about to launch toward the moon, directly into it. Stay with me until the end, because what all of this adds up to is something forecasters are only beginning to say out loud. And the part they're most reluctant to say is the part you need to hear. If this has you hooked, subscribe to the Skylab and tell me what you think below. After the dryline supercells, the 8 flooding rivers, the blizzards bearing Montana, and a solar flare hammering the magnetosphere all in the same week, is the atmosphere telling us something about where things are heading, or are we simply standing in the middle of a very loud coincidence? Let me know what you think. Now, let's get into it. Part 1. The forecast that shouldn't exist. Something is wrong with this forecast. Not wrong as in incorrect, wrong as in it shouldn't exist yet. When the Storm Prediction Center issues an enhanced risk 2 days out, that's normal. When they post a 15% severe probability 4 days in advance, that is not normal. That is a signal. And if you know how to read it, it should make you stop whatever you're doing and pay attention. Here's why that number matters. The Storm Prediction Center, the SPC, is one of the most cautious scientific institutions in the country. These are people who have spent careers watching confident forecasts collapse into nothing, and nothing forecasts explode into catastrophe. They do not use aggressive long-range probabilities unless something in the data is screaming at them. 15% severe probability 4 days out is not them hedging. It is them saying, we see this coming. We have seen it across multiple models, and we're telling you now because the window to prepare is closing. 15% might sound small. It isn't. In the language of severe weather forecasting, 15% at extended range typically precedes moderate risk upgrades as the event gets closer. It means the atmosphere is not being subtle. It means the models, which often disagree, which often split into wildly different solutions depending on which one you trust, are actually talking to each other right now. The GFS and the ECMWF, two of the most powerful forecasting systems on the planet, are telling essentially the same story. That alignment alone should raise the hair on your arms, and then you look at the energy numbers. CAPE, convective available potential energy, is the fuel gauge of the atmosphere. It measures how much energy is available to drive a thunderstorm upward. In a typical spring severe weather event, you might see CAPE values in the range of 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. That's enough to produce significant storms. The setup we're tracking right now, 3,000 joules per kilogram. In early April, let that land for a second. We are seeing near peak season instability, the kind of energy usually reserved for late May or June in the southern plains, loading into the atmosphere right now. The calendar says April. The atmosphere did not get the memo. But here's where it gets more specific and more unsettling. When forecasters talk about storm initiation, they usually deal in windows of uncertainty. A 6-hour window, an 8-hour window, maybe a broad afternoon to evening time frame. The storm initiation window for Wednesday evening has been narrowed to 3 hours. 3. Something is terribly wrong. The Storm Prediction Center almost...
So that's just part one. But when I was listening to that, and then I was looking in the comments because I was trying to see, is this current? And when he starts talking more, because I looked right at the beginning of it. But then he starts talking more. Artemis is about to go off. It's the beginning of April and all that stuff. So, won't that be Easter Sunday, which is tied to the prediction about Regulus on Easter Sunday. And then is this why the shuttle left today? And anyone else feeling that we're being radiated? Fantastic Four. But anyways, I was like, so I wonder if that does have to do with some kind of the predictions of how things are going to play out. I don't know. But I forgot. There was so what I was going to say a few minutes ago that I forgot was about your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Your tongue should be on the roof of your mouth all the time. But you shouldn't be grinding your teeth. You shouldn't be holding your jaw clenched. But your tongue should rest at the top of your mouth. And a lot of people, I don't know how you do it, how you rest your tongue. Mine is always at the roof of my mouth. So, anyways, that's one thing. Another thing I still got to talk about what the guy had said, but there was another thing that came into my mind too when I was saying that was, shoot. I can't remember. I'll have to see if I can remember. But I'll tell about that one guy. It was hilarious. So he's a grandpa. And so his daughter said, do you want your granddaughter to come over? And he's like, yeah, she can come over this weekend. And so when he's talking to the granddaughter's, well, can I bring my friend? And he's like, well, who's your friend? And she's like, Pepe. And he's like, well, who's Pepe? And she's like, my friend. And he's, so what he comes to find out is that this is an imaginary friend. And he's like, oh, hell no. Hell no. You bring your imaginary friend. You're not bringing some ghost to my house. And so, it turned into this big battle of, her wanting Pepe to come and him saying, no, Pepe's not coming. You can come, but Pepe's not coming. And so he even said that there was this big fight and that Pepe was standing there and stuff and Mom was standing there and this whole thing was going on. And he was like, no way, you're coming without Pepe. Pepe's staying here. And so then the granddaughter comes and she gets in the car. He gets in the car and he says he sees her look in the back seat and do a little smile. He's like, oh, hell no. He knew Pepe had snuck in the car at that point. So he looks in the rear view mirror and the granddaughter sees him look in the rear view mirror. And he slams on his brakes and he said, I told you Pepe couldn't come. And she's like, Grandpa, please, please. And he's like, no. And he opens the back door and he says, Pepe, get out of my car. He's right in the middle of the road. Pepe, get out of my car. And the little girl's crying, no, how can you do that? And he's like, walk your ass home. Get out of here and walk home. And the granddaughter's like crying, no, please, let her come with us. And he's like, no, I told you she's not coming. And she's like, but you can't make her walk. And he goes, you want to walk with her? You can walk with her. She's not coming. And so the little girl's like, no, I don't want to. He goes, okay, Pepe, get out of the car and go. So then they go to the house, and he knew Pepe wasn't with them because the little granddaughter was crying. She didn't want anything. She just sat there all weekend crying. She wanted to eat. She didn't want this. She didn't want that because she couldn't bring Pepe. So then he goes to take her home. And he said as soon as they pulled up, his granddaughter's whole demeanor changed again, and she could see Pepe waiting on the porch for her. He said it was creepy as could be. She jumps up and she's all excited. She jumps out of the car and she runs up to Pepe on the porch, and then they run in the house. And she doesn't even say thanks to Grandpa or anything like that. So he goes into the mom, and he's like, well, that's some bullshit. And so she's like, he goes, can you see Pepe? And she goes, yeah, I can see Pepe. He's like, okay, I can't see Pepe. Like, this is some bullshit. It was really, you got to hear him say it. It's so funny. And so he goes up to the bedroom, and he tells Pepe, you need to get out. I need to have a talk with my granddaughter without you here. And so he goes in and he starts telling her, so you like Pepe more than you like your grandpa? You don't care about your grandpa? You don't want to say thank you to your grandpa? You don't want to say I love you to your grandpa? And so it was this whole thing. And so he leaves, and he's like, you're not bringing any of your little ghost friends over to my house. Which totally makes sense. When he was saying, I was like, yeah, why would you want somebody's little ghost friend to come to your house? What if she decides she likes your house and she's going to stay there? It's like, hell no. So then he gets a call from, so he's at home, and he gets a call from another, I think it's another grandkid, and another kid, and saying that can the grandkid come over? Or the grandkid called and said, can I come over this weekend? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, well, can I bring my friend? And he goes, yeah, okay, sure, bring your friend. And so he's thinking it's a real person. And so then something happened, and he goes, wait a minute. So he calls back and he says, well, who's your friend? And she says the friend's name. And she goes, well, where does he live? Where does your friend live? Who's the parents? And she goes, well, I don't know. She just lives here. He was like, what? Another one. He's like, no, you are not bringing your friend to my house. And he starts going through this whole thing again. So I don't know if just the kids in his family can see ghosts and become friends with him or what. But he's like, no way. I'm bringing your little ghost friends over to my house. It is the funniest video. I was cracking up. The guy is so funny. I'll just let you listen to it one little second, because you can just hear how funny he is. But he cusses a lot. But he is hilarious.
We're not doing this shit. We is not doing this shit. I don't know who the fuck raised your motherfucking kids or how your kids was raised, but at my house, we're not doing this shit. I'm gonna go into a store.
He just goes through the whole thing. It is hilarious, but he cusses so much, but I think it makes it even funnier. So anyways, that was a funny story. Let me see if there's something else on here that reminds me. Oh yeah, okay, the mold thing. Okay, so somebody in the comments when I was talking about, I think maybe I was talking about the allergy or whatever, and so they said, oh, didn't you bring up you had mold? And so I was like, yeah, I did. And when I moved my bed and stuff, and I found mold under it, and everything was wet, everything on the ground was wet, and so there's too much humidity in the room, and it's staying. Right now, when I picked up Stella's bed to wash it, because I washed everything after Max was gone, and so, but everything was dry under there, although right now there's so much rain coming in. So, I don't know, I'd have to lift up my bed again, but it made me think about how much mold that we were living in at the other house. Like, there was a ton of mold, and, I lived there for like 6.5 years in Mold House, and, so So, and typically what I've heard, because after that person said that, and I was like, but I'm not sure if that has to do with Max getting so much sicker. Because when he lived at the mold house for maybe a year, I can't remember on timing of like when I got him and when we moved. I know I had just gotten Archie, just like I had him like 3 months. So maybe Max lived there for like a year or something at the mold house. But when he came to me, he was already sick. He was already puking, and he already had that weird bark. His bark got so much worse. So when he came, he just had this weird little chirp bark. He didn't bark, 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 bark. He just went bark, bark, bark. He couldn't bark. And I just thought, he just had a weird bark. I didn't really think that much of it. And like this puking thing, I thought he had anxiety or parasites, because that's what it said when I looked it up. I mean, it has more extreme things, but that seemed like the most logical, the most likely, and especially because he was a street dog. So then, so that's what I was like treating him for, was parasites and anxiety. And so then we left and we went to my mom's when I got kicked out of the house, and we lived in the garage. And so that was from January to October. And there wasn't mold. I mean, there was probably dust, but he was doing great there. And I cleared out because I had such severe allergies, which now I think was the mold in that whole mishap with the CLDX, I talked about before, where it blew in my face and I got a zillion drops up inside my nose and stuff. And I thought I was going to die, but then it cleared out all of that gunk in my lungs. Like if you remember how much I used to cough and all that stuff that was in my lungs, which I think was a bunch of mold spores, but that CLD kills mold spores. So anyways, I cleared out my lungs, and so I was feeling much better. But I also have some autoimmune thing. I don't know. It has to do with Epstein-Barr. I got Epstein-Barr a long time ago. And that is your initiation to autoimmune. So I've been dealing with these weird pains and stuff for a long, long time. And so then when we moved here, so that was in October. And then it was March. Was it March when my daughter came? The beginning of March? When I found the mold under the bed. So that would have been a couple months, but it all cleaned up. It wasn't like the same, I don't think it was the same kind of mold as the other place. But I don't think that would have been what made him so sick, because when we left my mom's in October, like I said, he was running around. He would, like, if he got an opportunity to get out of the gate, he took off and he went and ran the neighborhood. Like he would do that here. He would walk slowly. And where I noticed that he had slowed down so much was at the dog park, because he was just like walking so slow he couldn't keep up, and he was drooling, and I was like, what in the world is going on with him? Took him to the vet. They couldn't find anything. So anyways, and then it was like, well, he's probably just, intimidated by the new puppy and all that stuff. But anyways, so, but what I was thinking, Stella, will you please stop it, okay? I know she's got aches and pains from the weather. Okay, yep, I heard you. Then, she's been being dramatic for a couple days. Well, she's going to be dramatic too, because I think she's sad also about Max. So, and then I think she's sore, because I'm sore as fuck. And this rain and this weather is just... But what I was saying was, I was wondering if there was something different with the vibrate, like, they have the things that stand up all over the place in all the cities and stuff, the towers, and so those are like sending out waves. And so I was thinking, I wonder if in some states they've cranked that up, and that's going to make you get sicker faster, because it's going to mess up with your vibratory status quo. So I was like, Oh my God, Stella, please stop it. And so I was thinking, I wonder if that is something like that is why he got so much sicker so fast. Because like that was October, and by the end of March he's gone. And so and I was trying to think, like, when did he start really showing being sick? It wasn't in October. He was taking off all the time, man. In November, man, I just can't remember. Because it was when we went to the dog park is when I really noticed. And so, was that January? Or December? I don't remember. I can't remember when it was. I'd have to like go look up old videos or something and see what the date is. But, so, whatever it was, when he got sicker, he just went so like whew, down so fast. And like when his bark had turned into this like it was like his throat, it was either becoming so small or it was paralyzing or something, and he couldn't swallow. Like I said, it was like he was doing okay with the chicken for a while, but then he started not being able to even finish his thing of chicken. He just kept getting worse and worse, and he kept hitting, and he was doing this at my mom's. I remember that. He kept itching this, or trying to, this side, and then he would cry. And I kept thinking, does he have an ear infection? And I would try and look, and he'd get mad at me. And so I didn't think of it being serious. I sure didn't think, oh, he's got throat cancer. He's got cancer in his neck. I didn't think anything like that. And so, but that got worse and worse. That's where he was really, like, he would sit there and be like, oh, it was sad. And so, then, I don't know. It's just as weird because how fast that he deteriorated. So, I don't know. It just made me think about the red and the blue states. But then after that person said that about the mold, and then I was up in the middle of the night and I was looking at videos. How many videos do you think I saw about mold? It was like the instant they told me that, then all of a sudden mold videos. And the first one was a lady who bought this house, and she invested all her money into buying this house, this cute little 1950s house. She loved it. She was putting all her money into it, and she was getting really, really sick. And it took a while for her to finally figure out that her house was full of mold, and to an extreme degree. And so now they have to take all the wall. They have to move everything out. You can't keep most of your stuff, which last night I was thinking, like, okay, what stuff do I have that's from that house? My wood furniture, but you have to get rid of a lot of stuff. But the wood furniture isn't in this room. This room has her bed. Stella's bed was at the other house. This bed that I'm sleeping on was out in the other room, but that out in the other, it was in the guest house thing. So that could have had mold too, because it had a leak. So it could have had mold out there too. But the mold that was on the bed was from here. And so it didn't seem like it had old mold. And I took that bed apart down to take everything off. So, and I washed it, the cover in vinegar too. So Stella's bed's got a whole new cover. I bought a whole new cover for her bed. So, and this chair's new. This table, this thing was at our old house. But that is like it. This little thing. But I just moved this in here. So I was like, man, what things in here could be having the mold? And, but so she said she's got to take her house down to the studs, take the whole freaking house apart, and get rid of all of her stuff and buy all new. And she said she had just got married, and her husband had been buying all this stuff. They just bought a brand new bed, just paid it off. Now they can't keep their bed, and you can't sell it or anything. You have to give it to the dump. So she was talking about how much it's costing. Insurance doesn't cover any of it. And she was crying. It's like, fuck, man, what a stress. You can't sell your nothing. You know, you got to come up with all this money now to take your house down to the studs and rebuild it. and you have to do all these treatments to get rid of the mold. And there are so many new houses. This is 1950s house, but I have seen this as a big problem with new builds too, because one thing is that they're building during certain rainy seasons and the stuff's getting wet and they're just building on top of it. So your studs and stuff are molding inside your house. There's mold inside people's walls and stuff. Oh my gosh, Stella, please stop. God, she just gets louder when I don't listen. Then just get up and move if you don't like where you're at. And so so this is going to, I would think, potentially for a lot of people are going to be having to do this. And so anyways, I was watching this video. I was like, oh my God, this is something, and how sick she was. But when you get away from the house, you get better. So all of her symptoms and stuff, she started realizing, living out, because they're living at their in-laws right now, and they've been there for 4 months, and all her symptoms are going away. And one of the symptoms is your hair falling out. Remember how I was saying all my hair was falling out? But I've been taking the pumpkin seed oil, but it also could be because I've been away from there. But even when I was at my mom's, my hair is still falling out. So, but that was only 10 months in, and I had been there for 6 years without mold. So, I don't know. But anyways, the pumpkin seed oil has helped my hair to stop falling out. But but then after that, then I saw another video of her talking about it and all her symptoms and her house being covered in mold and her having to go down to her studs. Then another one. It was like, oh shit. Then I was just like, okay, I can't listen to another one. And I was going to bed. So I didn't listen to his whole story. But the other girl, she was having all sorts of symptoms, and it gives people Graves' disease as a sign that you got that situation at your house. And this one, she said it caused her to have acne. It causes all these certain things where when you go in with these certain complaints, sometimes if you get a good doctor, then they'll start saying, well, do you think you could have mold? And the first girl, she said, no, I don't think so. And then they're like, well, you should get tested. When you bring out the people to do the testing, it's tons and tons of money, and they're more resistant if they don't see signs of it. So anyways, I think mine was under the house because I had a leak for so long. And so, but and hers, she had a leak, but it climbs through the walls. The mold's like a parasite to the house. It goes through and it just takes over. So anyways, whoever that was, I can't remember if it was Karen, Kathy, oh, I can look. Sometimes I forget. I got my phone right here. I can tell you who it was and say thank you for Karen Ellen. Thank you for bringing that up, because it did make me think more about it, and then I was seeing more things about it. And so, yeah, this mold thing is serious business. And also Crystal had sent me a video that I had said about that guy, about could it be Easter. And so there's a lot of stuff going, a lot of atmospheric things, a lot of stuff in our physical with the WAR and all of these different things, where it still could be that this is our time where things are going to finally play out. But the whole thing is if it doesn't, we can't get all down and depressed about it and be like, oh, see, nothing's ever going to happen. We got to just keep on going. Just be like, okay, well, that wasn't the day, but it's up there somewhere. And until then, we got to keep working on ourselves. That's what's important, is working on you. That's what everything in this world is here for you, to find yourself, to figure yourself out, and to release all of your pain and suffering, to release the parts of you that you're not as happy with, which it's deep because it's from past lives and stuff. So, anyways, but the challenge is, and the direction that we need to go is working on learning how to love ourselves, learning how to love everybody, and learning how to have the day we want. Learn how to maneuver through all the information, not getting all caught up and becoming a product of your environment, and emotionally maturing so that we can not be reactive and not play games, because that is a part of this toxic environment that has been a part of our existence for a long time. Like, most of us have been in relationships where we played games, we were toxic, we lived in toxic relationships. So This is a time of change. This is a time where you change. Everything changes when you change. So work on you, and we'll see what this Thursday brings us. We'll see what they do. That Artemis, it shouldn't take them 4 days to just get it. It's just a quick trip. So I don't know. This is also absurd. Are they going to have some big drama that's going to happen? Is this their way? They're going to say, oh, the ship was taken by space aliens and they've captured them. Now what are we going to do? Who knows? Who knows what the hell they're going to do next? So it's also absurd, but we're in it together. We came here for this, so we just got to ride it out. And keep your eyes on the prize. It's up there somewhere. So anyways, but until then, we will see what happens today, and we will talk about it in the morning. So I will talk to you later. Bye.